Hello everybody, so today I'm going to make a new video, and this is Lucy's second video, or third video actually, and today we're changing out the coolant. I've already changed the oil on it, and that's self-explanatory on how to do that, so this actually isn't. And there's a couple of videos right now that are out on YouTube, and they're, to be honest, they're poorly done. They basically show you what not to do when it comes to putting the coolant in on this Elite 110. It's so much easier if you do it the right way, and I'm going to show you the right way to do it. And that way it's easier for you to put the new fluids in, it's easier for you to get the fluids out. Everything is easier when you do it the right way. So I actually got a good laugh when I was watching the way they did it. If they would have taken the time to look at the service manual, they would have seen how much easier it is if you do it the right way. So hopefully you look at my video and you use it, because it's definitely going to help you if you want to accomplish this without having any fluid all over your floor like you will see in their videos. But so anyways, basically the order that you're going to do things is the back that is on the back of the scooter right there, that has 3 bolts that are in it. There's 2 that are on the back, and then there's 1 in the front. So you're going to want to make sure that you remove that. Once you remove that, this actual shroud that is on the inside, you have to remove that as well. But in order to do that, it's easier if you do it this way. So this particular box, there's 2 screws that are in the front right there. There's little covers that cover them. You remove those 2 screws, you remove these 2 screws. Total of 4 screws. This whole thing comes straight out with the seat, everything straight out, boom, and you're at this point. Once you do that, then you have easy access to the radiator, which is right there, and here's your reservoir tank. So you have easy access to it. Now the tools that you're going to want to use in order to accomplish this is everything I have is right here. You're going to want your sockets, 8mm, along with an extender, along with 10 and 12mm as well. And then a T40 star bit. Now I'm using coolant made by Honda. You use what you want, but that's what's recommended for the scooter, so that's what I'm using. So then I have a drip pan. Very important. Buy one of these. It's $5. You can buy them cheap or use one that you have for the car. And then a nice funnel with a siphoning end or a movable end. And it just makes the job easier when you have these things, because if you watch those other 2 videos, you'll learn that are on YouTube that show you the wrong way to do it. When you watch those videos, you'll understand why you definitely want to have these things available to you. So removing the shroud that's in front of the radiator, that's held on actually with 3 black screws. It's self-explanatory where they are. Now when I removed the shroud itself, I found an easier time if I removed the dipstick for the oil first. It made it easier for you to get it off, because you got to be real careful not to hit any of those fins. And while you're at it, clean any debris, bugs, dirt, whatever you find there, clean it off while you're have it removed. So once you take that shroud off with the 3 bolts, the 2 screws that you're going to pay attention to using to drain is this one right here. This uses a T40, and then over here is an 8mm. So remove this one first. The majority of your coolant is going to come out when you pull that one out. Make sure you have a pan that is 12 inches, because it's going to shoot a stream, and if you're not ready, you're going to have 13 ounces of coolant all over your floor, just like the other YouTubers that are out there that did a coolant change on this model. It got everywhere. So be prepared with a nice big pan along with a funnel. Now the funnel you're going to want to do is basically taking it and going underneath that screw, and then you're good. So you'll do that second. You drain that one and then drain that one. You of course can do this if you want and hold it. I don't think you need to do that. You do for this screw over here though. you definitely need to got a little stuck there. So you definitely need to for that screw to get under there, but not for this one. So once you drain everything out from there, drain everything out from there, you take those off. Hold on a second. Once you take that shroud off, it's going to give you access to the radiator cover right there. So, and then before you take that cover off, you want to use this clamp. Basically, you take the clamp, you go over the hose like so, pull back, then you want to remove the hose from right here, have your funnel ready, because there'll be a little bit between here and here. Once you're done with that, then you can remove this clamp and drain the rest of it out of your reservoir. That way you clean this out good too. This pops off, so you can remove that. Once you get all of it out of here, put this back on, take this off, and then you can take your radiator cap off at that point. So once you take the radiator cap off, because you've already drained everything out of it, then basically I used some distilled water through the system. And the reason that I used the distilled water through the system was to make sure I got all the old coolant out of it. So once it goes clear, you know you're good. So I went ahead and got all the coolant out of it, put those 2 screws back on, and it says in the manual that you should replace the washers for each of those screws, but I didn't replace them. I think they'll last at least a few changes, and then you probably have to replace them. But ultimately, you have to replace them if it leaks. So if you put it back on and it leaks, then replace them. If you put it back on and it doesn't leak, then you're fine. So once you remove those 2 screws and put everything back on, then you're going to fill it up with coolant. Right there, have 12 ounces of coolant ready. The system holds 13, but as you bleed it and let it bubble, it's going to take some out of your reservoir to fill it. So put first 12 ounces in there and then start the scooter up. Let the scooter idle 2 or 3 minutes, and you're going to see all the bubbles come out the top. Once it stops bubbling, give it gas a couple times. So after 2 to 3 minutes and it stops bubbling, fill it all the way to the top as much as you can go, maybe another ounce or 2, maybe an ounce. Actually, like I said, you only get 13 total. So another ounce, and then put the cap on. You'll have a little bit come off under the cap. You wipe it up, and then after you do that, fill that up to your upper reserve line. You have a lower and an upper line, which you can obviously see those lines right there. Fill it up to the upper line and close the lid, and you're done. It's that easy. So you can see now how easy it is to do it, just taking off a total of 7 bolts and 2 items, and gave you access right to your radiator. And it's very important to make sure you get all the air out. So when you start it up, with the cap off, you start it up, make sure you see no bubbles. If it's still bubbling, all the air is not through the system yet. So make sure all the air goes through the system. Then you put the cap back on it again. So that's just real important to make sure. But you can see how there is, I just finished mine. I got to put the top pieces back on, but I don't have a mess anywhere. All the mess stayed right there. So as long as you have, like I said, those tools available, again, 8 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, oh, that's a good tongue twister, along with some extenders, it makes it easy. And then using the right 50-50 coolant, you're putting in what's supposed to be in it. And I recommend while you have that top off, makes it easy for you to wipe off your paint if you want to make it look real nice while everything is exposed. You can wipe under there any dirt you see just to keep it clean. In my opinion, it makes it, nice when you have it nice everywhere, not just where you can see, but keeping this area clean as well. Just makes it nice next time you take it off and it's not all full of dirt and a mess. So that's about it, guys. Can't think of anything else to do except for what I've already told you. I have to put those back on. I'm not going to bore you with putting on some screws. It's quite obvious where they go. So if you have any questions for me, or you have any thing you want to add or say, please in the comments below, and I'll answer your comments. That's all though. Again, this is Lucy, 2010 scooter, and 358 miles is what she has today for this video. Thank you very much for watching.